Welcome back to SciTech Intermountain, Earthworks training videos and Siteworks training videos. In this video, we are going to show you how to create avoidance zones. Out here, I've just set up kind of a dummy situation where I can use these blocks and these cones to record them, and then we will go and put it in Business Center real quick and create avoidance zones that can be exported into the machines. What we're going to do right off the bat is create another new work order. So I'm going to go to my menu, project setup, change project, and I always like to create a new work order for information that I'm doing like this so it's not crowded with a bunch of other information. So we're going to go in here and put avoid utilities. We'll go ahead and do that. We'll leave the design on in the background just so we have something to kind of reference. What I'm going to do is, since I'm going to use Business Center, I don't have to worry about making the size of something. I can go ahead and just record the point where it's at. We'll go ahead and go into the roller stuck in the mud, which is my measure type. And I'm going to put in here manhole. I'm going to change this to a feature, not a surface. And I'm going to leave this at no because I don't need to see it every time. So we're going to record this point right here. We'll go ahead and record another point right here. And the reason for avoidance zones is to, one, be a little bit more visible on the screen, but also it's going to give an alarm to the operator when he gets close. I'll show you how to set those avoidance zone settings. And you can use these to be able to help operators if they're grading with an excavator, dozer, grader in a parking lot, whatever it is, an area that they may forget that there's something that they could hit without just actually seeing it on the screen. So here's an opportunity to make a zone that'll actually give them an alarm. So this block right here, we're just going to record right up on top of it. I'm not worried about the elevation as much as just the position, and it's about a 2x2 block. So we'll record that one, and we'll record one more block here, and then we'll go to Trimble Business Center. So now that I've recorded those points on the screen, you can go into your gear and turn on point name just so you can see them. Even though they all have a point name that I left as manhole, I'm going to go ahead and show you how when we export that back out of Business Center, it really doesn't matter. So a quick way to get that information out to your thumb drive so you can put it in Business Center, you can export measured data. That doesn't really matter. If you want to just hit your Windows button, you can go to your root folder and you can go to SCS 900 data and you can go to the project itself. And in here you'll see that you've got one that's called work orders right here. If you open up work orders, you've got the avoidance zone avoid utilities. Looks like I got two U's in there. You can go ahead and take this SPJ file. That's the only file you need to pull into Business Center. So you can just copy that, put it on your thumb drive, paste it there, and then we will go ahead and go to Business Center real quick.
Okay, now that we've got that SPJ file for the avoidance zones pulled onto the thumb drive, inside my Business Center project here, I'm going to simply drag and drop that SPJ file in. Okay, now what I can do is zoom in and see those points that I shot, manhole 1, 2, 3, 4, and those concrete blocks. Once I have those, what I'm going to do is create the size of the avoidance zones that I want around those. So I'm going to go up to my CAD tab at the top here, and I'm going to create a circle around those to make an area. So assuming these were manholes, what I'm going to do is click on this first one, and I'm going to leave this layer under avoidance zones that I've created. The elevation does not matter in this aspect because the avoidance zone is just a perimeter, an area, so it doesn't matter if it has a 0 elevation or anything. So I'm going to go ahead and do a radius of 2 feet on these. I'm going to click that, then put 2 feet in here for the radius size, and I'm going to create some circles around each one of these about that exact same size for the ones that are off of those concrete blocks. You can make these whatever size you need. So on this one, I'm going to do 4 feet just to make those a little bit bigger around the concrete blocks. And it doesn't have to be a circle. I'm just choosing that for this as an option. So now that I've got those made, you can see the single points and the avoidance zone or the round circles around them. The other thing I'm going to do, just I'm going to just show you that it doesn't have to be manholes or small things. If we had an area, for example, right here around this big pile that we wanted to have them avoid and stay away from, I can go ahead and draw a line string in around that. And there again, it doesn't need the same elevation as anything else. So I'll just simply snap in a boundary around the outside of this one. And then it does need to be a closed boundary, so if you can't make it back to the beginning, it doesn't matter. Either way, it has to be closed. So what I'm going to do is close that, select it, hit properties. There's a couple different ways to do this. This is just one way I do it, and I'm going to close it right here. So now that I've got these areas, I'm going to go ahead and highlight them, and then we're going to export them and show you how it has to go out in the format it needs to be to show up in the Earthworks or GCS machine. So now that those are highlighted to show you, we can go ahead and come up here to the top where the Export tab is. And in here, there is a Machine Job Site Design Exporter under the Construction tab. So there's a lot of times in here we're doing the traditional export out to machine, but there is an actual Machine Avoidance Zone Exporter. If you do that, you can have all the boundaries you need right here highlighted, and then you can see in the file name, it's actually going to make it a .avoid.svl. So I'm going to go ahead and just come into my documents and probably make a folder called Avoid Zones. And inside that, we'll just go ahead and leave it with the actual name of the avoidance zone for the project. So I'm going to hit save and then export that out. So now that those are ready to go, at this point, I need to just throw that on my thumb drive in the project library. Now that I've got those exported, I'm going to go to my thumb drive here, and I'm going to or my documents folder, and I'm going to go to my avoidance zones, and I'm going to take that .avoid.svl, that file, and I'm going to copy that. And where you're going to put that is on the project library for Earthworks. So in projects for my local 3 Union Hall here, I've got field data and office data. I'm sending it from the office. And where you dump it is right here. You don't go into designs and put it next to the DSZs. You go ahead and put it right here. Just copy it into here. And it is the SVL, so the line work. And then we'll go ahead and take that back to the excavator now and put it in and show you what the avoidance zones look like.
All right, now that I've got the thumb drive from Business Center that I actually put the SVL files on, the one that has the avoidance zones, going to go into our machine. We're going to put the thumb drive in. We're going to import it just the way we would all the other files. Import files to machine from USB. Same thing, just hit select here. We're going to go ahead and import into local 3. All right, once those files are imported, once again, you can leave the thumb drive in and just hit OK. Now, as you come back to this project and change to that project, it all of a sudden recognizes that there's avoidance zones. So let me go back in there after I refresh the project and show you what it looks like. Now you've got an option here right under projects. Well, not an option, it's a warning saying this project includes avoidance zones. So you go ahead, like I said, and load that up. And as you go to your main screen, you're going to see, as we zoom out, those avoidance zones on your screen that I've made. And they're actually scaled correctly, so the right size. Now, at the top of the screen, you're going to start seeing an icon that says how far away you are from the nearest one. You're 23 feet. The closer and closer we get, you're going to have a warning, but I'll show you how to change that setting inside the web interface just in a minute. You can't change meaning the setting on when the alarm comes on from the actual program here. That's in web interface. But as we go ahead and move towards these now, you'll see that number, as I get closer to it, is based off the bucket. And I wanted to show you that. It's not just, a lot of people think it's just based on an excavator on that red circle all the way around. It's not. That number is getting smaller and smaller the closer I get based on the bucket. But as soon as I get within a range of that, we're going to get an alarm that comes on. So let me reach out and we'll get right into that. So boom, we've got an avoidance zone breached at that point. And we'll zoom in and show you that that's how close I am, and I'll show you how to change that range as to when that goes off. It looks like it's set to about 4 to 5 feet. right now on that.
In order to change any of the settings for avoidance zones, you have to do it through the web interface app on your Earthworks machines. In web interface, you've got these icons on the left that take you into different menus, and the one for operation, at the bottom of that, has avoidance zones. So in here is where you can set that. If you hit default, it's going to be to a specific number. But if you go ahead and just change this number, that will change the distance that these areas and the warnings, for example, on this eye, the blue avoidance zone detected, orange within the warning distance, and the magenta inside the avoidance zones. So if you are going to have a whole bunch of smaller ones on the project and you're going to be having machines crossing them all the time, I would suggest you come in and put this number as low as you can. I believe 3 feet is as low as it'll go. As soon as you're done, make sure you hit save at the bottom right here.
So that's how you would do that. Now, if we zoom out, you'll notice that out here, I've also got the big one over there. So every single one of these, as soon as I get close to it, gives me a warning, shows me where they're at. The reason why I like these is not just the alarm. The alarm is kind of annoying, but I do like the fact that you can warn an operator before he's going to hit something in the ground. The red spot around your machine, that boundary, is also going to give you the alarm. Because if I get that red boundary outside of the areas, the alarm goes off. It's just the avoidance zone distance changes based on the bucket. So when the bucket goes in, it goes off. And when the boundary of the machine actually gets in it, the red part, let me swing to the side and show you. So as soon as that gets in, it goes off. But hopefully that helps with any of you that are curious how the avoidance zones work. Once again, there's a lot of different reasons why. There was at one point had avoidance zones because of swamplands they wanted us to stay at, but it was kind of redundant because we had silt fence around it. I've just found a real use for this for manholes. That's why I wanted to show you it this way, because it's an actual visual sight on the screen and then also an alarm. No one wants to fill in a manhole when they clip it off with a grader, so hopefully this video from SiteTech Intermountain on avoidance zones and how to create those helps and export them to the machine.